Welcome. Welcome to Unity of Fort Worth. Today is Tuesday, October 13th, 2020. And our morning meditation, our focus today, coming from the daily word, is world peace, which could we picked a little less important, maybe a little more trivial topic in our discussion and in our meditation than world peace. But then again, could we picked anything more relevant today than world peace? Because that's a long-standing topic, a long-standing experience that actually maybe we're not quite so focused on these days, because we're focused on whether there's peace in our nation, peace in our own city, peace in our backyard, because of what we've been exposed to and the conflict and the pain and the anger that we're aware of, often so prevalent in our news and in our social media. So today we're looking at world peace, and peace being a state of existing without absence of war, a state of harmony, law and order within a state or country, absence of an anxiety, and a state of stillness or silence are some of the definitions of peace itself. So world peace, we might look at and say it's an absence of war, a state of harmony, and maybe just law and order, some type of structure is taking place, and that there's an absence of anxiety, mental anxiety, and a state of silence, of stillness, which of course is so relevant to us when we start talking about meditation. Good morning, Terry. When we talk about meditation and world peace, I'm just drawn to the idea that you and I live in a world that's growing smaller and smaller. Yes, maybe it's growing larger and larger with population, but it's growing smaller and smaller in our way of being interconnected because of what we have with technology, because of the way nations are beginning to interact. We are coming far more connected, far more related to each other. In ancient times, boy, when there was something going on, it was really just involving your family unit, maybe a few neighbors. And you just got together with that group and you worked out what you needed to work out. Today, we're working that out with billions and billions of people. But nonetheless, the understanding that can come from us recognizing that we are really so interconnected is to recognize that we're not separate, that we are one relation to one another. And that the more we can grasp that and the more we can understand that, the more we can bring it into our awareness and our being, then potentially, possibly, and maybe ultimately, we can return to world peace. Because there's a study, maybe you've heard of it, I've heard of it for many, many years, but it happened in the 80s. It was during the Lebanon War, and they did an exercise in which they took 1,000 people who meditated on world peace during that war. And what they found in Lebanon is that the deaths that were attributed to war went down by 75%, and that they also saw that traffic violations, collisions, fires, and any other destructive events all seemed to diminish during the time that that group meditated. So from this and other studies, we've learned that we can take the wars of death and injuries and reduce those when we have people meditating and focusing on peace. Scientists kind of reluctantly get that, yep, that's the case. Matter of fact, John Hagelin, He is a world-renowned quantum physicist. He says that there is far more evidence that group meditation can turn off war like a light switch than that aspirin reduces headaches, that it's a scientific fact. So in that awareness that we are, in our meditations, able to influence and impact so much. But ultimately, why are we impacting those? Why does it make a difference in our external when we talk so much about what's happening on the internal for us, especially during meditation? Y'all have a great answer for that? Y'all might add that in the stream and enlighten me. I would love a perfect answer for that. I think there are some beautiful answers to that. I don't know about a perfect one, but hopefully you've got a great way of saying that. Because peace from an external world only comes about if there's peace on an internal world. So if we're going to meditate and connect that to world peace, then we have to have the clarity and understanding that when we meditate, who are we bringing the peace to? Is it really ultimately starting at the external, and that's the only source and focus that the meditation is impacting, or is it an internal too? Hopefully we grasp that it's an internal experience as well. And maybe more importantly, that it's an internal, because without the internal, without the awareness of returning to that peace within us, how can that possibly be radiated, headed outward, seen outward, thought of as actions that can be acted upon outward if we can't resonate, discover, understand, and experience the peace within us? Peace to me, when I think of that, I think of compassion. Because I think of looking at someone else that has something that they're in distress about, and that I want to bring some type of relief to that. That we're holding compassion for other human beings. Meditation for me is along that same lines. Who's the one that's distressed? Well, it's me. Not that I may have an acute awareness of distress. I may, but often it's not. Often it's just the arising that takes place. And what arises? Something about my past, something about my future. And I have this image in my head of sitting on the curb as a kid, and I'm watching what's passing in front of me on the street. And I can see things that I could jump up to and grab them, embrace them, and run down the road with them. And there may be thoughts and ideas that take me to the past. Good morning, Jackie. Thoughts that take me to the past, or thoughts and ideas that take me to the future. Ultimately, what is not present there is the present. So I can run down the street with any one of those directions, but what I ultimately want to do is come back, sit back on my curb, settle in, return to the silence. And that's doesn't mean that what's taking place on the street is somehow wrong or flawed. It's actually the activity that's taking place on the street, and it might be quite informative for me. But in my meditation, I'm not trying to run with it. I'm not trying to explore and understand all the nuances of why I'm going to the past, why I'm going to the future. It's about recognizing that it's there, having compassion for whatever's arising there, that it's okay that it be there, and that it's okay that I not focus on it at the moment, and that I return to the silence. I'm cultivating this awareness. And in cultivating the awareness of what arises and falls within my own life, my own inner workings, then I can also have compassion and awareness that that same thing is arising in others, and that others typically want the same thing I want. They want happiness in their life. They want peace, no differently than I do. And that in that place of compassion, then can't I step up to them, no matter how different seemingly we are, that I can step up to them and be with them and in peace unfold what needs to take place. Just like in ancient times when a family would come together and they're working on something, they find a way to resolve whatever they need to do. Sometimes it's compromise. Sometimes it's just clarity of this is the option. This is the one that makes best sense for us all. So in our meditation, we're ultimately helping ourselves develop that awareness and that compassion, even though it doesn't necessarily have to be a part of what we're aware of while we're meditating. It's the experience of meditation, returning to that silence that gives us a perspective and awareness to recognize that what arises within us and our ability not to have to run with it, to follow it down the street. So today, in our meditation, I'm going to just invite you, world peace, world peace. What does that arise for you? What ideas come to you? And hopefully not the things that are running down the street, but what genuinely comes for you? Is it a sense of happiness, joy? Is it a camaraderie, a compassion for your fellow human beings? Just allowing that here to start with this. What is your clarity on that? And if there isn't clarity, the fact that you have clarity that there isn't clarity, that's okay. Most certainly okay when we begin here. So join me. Join me in this process. You can close your eyes if you wish to. You can leave them open. There's no right, no wrong. It's what easily fits you. It's appropriate for you. So I take a deep breath in and I exhale it. I allow myself to relax in, relaxing my body, relaxing all my thoughts and concerns, knowing that there's one thing taking place here. That I can be sitting on the curb of my street, no matter what runs north, runs south, runs east, runs west, runs up, runs down. I can keep my presence and my awareness as I sit here on my curb, settling in, relaxing into, being at ease with what's taking place, with who I am, and the experience that I'm having here. For at the core of my being, I am peace. I am always peace. Whatever the outer circumstances, whatever's happening in the physical, I know I am peace. I am love. I am kindness. I am the harmony that enfolds and flows through and is all my experience, all the awareness I have of who and what I am. I know this peace because I know that I am part of the wholeness that is all the universe, the oneness that is humanity. And peace in the external world is inevitable because it cannot be separate from the peace that is present and expressing and alive in this moment, in every moment. My being is a part of the external just as it is the internal, because both are part of the infinite. And there is always well-being. There is always joy, always kindness, always abundance, always gratitude. No matter my perception of the external, that one love and one presence is always a part of my existence. And in that existence is a field of peace, of harmony. And that peace is unstoppable. Infinite love is my infinite love. And it's contagious, uncontainable, unstoppable. And this infinite love is essential. And it is reflected from the heart of my being, from the words of my day, the actions of my life. And this love is reflected in the heart of every being I experience. Peace is my true nature. It is my essential nature. I take my clarity of the kindness, goodwill, compassion, and peace that I am and have for my world, and I reach out, knowing that love connects with love, joy connects with joy, peace connects with peace. I see this earth as the one true expression of that peace, of that love, of that joy. There is an awakening, a deepening, a transforming into the full expression of this peace that abides in all, that is expressed as all. And there is a field that permeates not only in me, but through me, but in and through the world that I live in. And I acknowledge the stillness in which all this has its core. And as I move and resonate and deepen myself into this silence, and as this silence, I become more still, more aware of who I am. And I allow my thoughts and feelings, if they have arisen, to return to where they need to flow. But I get to return to where I need to flow, into that place and space and experience of silence. For the silence is my silence. Nothing can disturb my inner peace, for it is the birthright of who I am. And I allow myself for the next moments to dwell in that place of silence. I appreciate my awareness of the silence, my awareness of my divine nature. And I am thankful I am one with the silence, and that I am one with all of creation. I accept my divine experience. And I accept my connection and relationship to all that exists and the peace that dwells there. I am thankful for the human family I am fully connected to. And I give thanks, knowing that in this moment, eternal peace is established on earth. Wisdom and world peace are inevitable, for they are already established right here, right now. Peace being my true nature and the true nature of everyone I experience. I acknowledge and dwell in that peace, in the joy, the love, the compassion that arises and is inseparable from that peace. And together, wherever I go, whatever I experience today, no matter the outer experiences, I give thanks and acknowledge and gratitude that there is one world peace alive and dwelling in me, and inseparable as it indwells in each and every human being. And in my gratitude, I say thank you. And as you are ready, you return your attention to your present surroundings, knowing that as you move forth in this day, you take who you are, this experience of peace, because you cannot take anything without taking that divine peace, because it is yours. It is who you are. With that, thank you for joining us today. Always check out Unity Fort Worth /calendar. No telling what you'll find there, because there's always events taking place. So there's always something that you might find of interest, of relevance to you, that you might enjoy experiencing. And it's right there in that calendar, as well as often links to give you far more details and descriptions, and help you find and interact and maybe see how much more in those relationships that we are interconnected, and that peace is available in so many places. Thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you soon.